Josh Emmett versus Ilia Topuria. This Saturday in the main event, UFC 5 in the featherweight division. Boy, we got a lot to pack in here, guys. You got Josh Emmett, who's coming off of a submission loss to Yair Rodriguez for the featherweight interim title back in February. But before that, he was running a five-fight win streak with a little bit of controversy in his wins against Calvin Kattar and Dan Ige. But nonetheless, those were super close fights. Could have gone either way. Unfortunately, the other guys, they let it go to the judges. Personally, I had him losing in both of those fights, but to me, those fights were close nonetheless, and he went out there and squeaked out some victories. But before that, he had some nice victories against Shane Burgos, knocked out Mirsad Bektic, absolutely decimated Michael Johnson. And before that, he took a very devastating knockout loss to Jeremy Stevens, where like his eye popped out and just I think he broke his face. Like there was a whole lot of stuff that went on in that fight where he took a lot of time off. But after that, he knocked out a five-fight win streak against the top guys in the entire featherweight division, the best strikers, the best wrestlers. He went out there and put on some really nice performances, earned himself a title shot, an interim title shot against the very dangerous Yair Rodriguez. In that fight, I really think it came down to the weapons. I think Josh, he went out there, he found a lot of success, dropped Yair. He even came out and said himself that he was kind of an autopilot after he got dropped. I think it was in the first round or it might have been in the beginning of the second round. But he went out there and was able to really hurt Josh, and then he was able to finish Josh via triangle choke. I think it was the second round, I think at the end of the second round. So Josh, he's 38 years old, no slouch, but, he's definitely not in the prime of his career. But where he succeeds most, he doesn't really rely too much on his athleticism, even though he's an absolute freak for his size, for his weight, for his age. I mean, physically, the guy's an absolute freak. He's completely gifted that way. In a sense, the athleticism hasn't really left him yet, but maybe the timing a little bit might not be there for him anymore. Him going against these young killers like Yair Rodriguez and coming up with Ilia Topuria, who I'm about to be talking about, he might be struggling, and we might be seeing the passing of the torch here. We might be seeing a little bit of hesitancy, a little bit of self-doubt. 38 years old, he might have one foot out the door now. He's going to be looking at having to go through a whole nother run if he wants to get a title shot again. He's going to be having all those things floating through his mind coming up against an undefeated 26-year-old killer in Ilia Topuria, who has gone 5-0 at the UFC since joining the UFC, 4 finishes in a row against guys like Damon Jackson, Jai Herbert, who the fuck else was it? Ryan Hall and Bryce Mitchell, right? What he does to these guys, he has this touch of death at 145 and even at 155 that we saw against Herbert, that every time he touches these dudes, it looks like it does damage. It looked like he gave Damon Jackson damn near instant brain damage. He had perfect defense against Ryan Hall's crazy, wild, unpredictable jiu-jitsu Imanari roll style. He was able to put him unconscious, break his hand, put him unconscious. Then what he was able to do against Jai Herbert, where he struggled really early on to find his range, and because he was at a huge reach disadvantage going up in weight, fighting on short notice, going against a guy who I think had like an 8-inch reach advantage against him. But he was able to eventually, he was basically able to adjust on the fly, find his reach, go out there, bite down on his mouthpiece, and get the finish, and put Jai Herbert out also, where it almost looked like, he put him unconscious. It looked like he gave him brain damage as well. And then he followed that up with the true, real test against Bryce Thug Nasty Mitchell, where him in his own right, he was this undefeated in the UFC prospect, rising up. There was a big fight at UFC 282, and every time he touched Bryce, it really looked like it affected him. It hurt him. And Bryce had his moments there in the second round because Bryce is just so fucking tough. He's so good. He's so durable. But it just showed how dangerous, how good at every level that Topuria excels in. He excels at every level. He's young. He's 26, undefeated, all the confidence in the world. So that's all going to play a huge part in this. His power, I think he's just as dangerous when it comes to power-wise as Josh Emmett. I see two dudes who are going to stand in the pocket and really bang it out. I really do see that happening. I don't see this fight lasting longer than 3 rounds. I think that Josh Emmett's going to I think he's going to be questioning himself a little bit going into this fight. 38 years old, where Ilia, he's the hot young prospect. He's hungry. He's undefeated. We've seen him get knocked down before. We haven't seen him get finished before he's undefeated. So, we really haven't seen that happen yet. We haven't seen his chin tested too much yet because he's really kind of gone out there and just walked through these guys. So I'm really interested to see. I really see this as his not his true first test, but his true like first top 5 test. This is his opportunity to go out there and have true title contention for Topuria. And this is the perfect fight to go against a killer like Josh Emmett, who isn't necessarily on his way out. I think this fight is really where we're going to see where Josh Emmett stands for the rest of his career. And I think that no matter what, win or lose, I think Ilia Topuria, he's in a position to succeed, because if he loses to a killer like Josh Emmett. But if he wins, it catapults him right into title contention. To whereas Josh Emmett, if he loses, it's going to say, oh man, like he's really going to be in gatekeeper position for the rest of his career. But if he gets a victory, he's right back. If he gets a really nice victory, really nice performance, he's right back right there in title contention. So there's a lot of things that could happen at play, but Ilia Topuria, he's really in a no-lose situation. Emmett has everything really to lose here. His spot, his hype, his career status. He has everything to lose in that aspect. I really don't want to pick in this fight. I think Ilia right now, I think his confidence, I think all that is kind of where I'm leaning towards. Like if I was a betting man, I think I were to bet on Topuria right now. I think he just excels everywhere. He's just got that touch of death to where Josh Emmett, I've seen him get put out before against guys who hit just as hard as he does. And I think that'll be the defining moment there. That's going to do it today, guys, for Mr. Mustache MMA News. Guys, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button to continue getting more MMA content. By yours truly, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section. Do you guys think it's time for Ilia Topuria to be in title contention? Or is Josh Emmett going to keep his spot in the top 5? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today. Mr. Mustache MMA News out. Let's fucking go, fight fans.